Sure, let's do it, man.
Awesome. Yeah, man. I appreciate you coming on the show. I've been following you for quite some time, just watching, the deals you're doing. For those who may not know, just explain who you are and what you do.
For sure. Yeah. So my name is Jasper. I'm living out in Scottsdale right now, Arizona. I grew up in North Carolina, Durham to be exact, so in the Triangle area there. And yeah, man, I got into real estate back in 2018. So it feels like forever ago for me now. But I'm still kind of a rookie of this game, I guess, compared to a lot of other people. But yeah, I was working as a server. I worked for a restaurant called Bar Taco. So if anyone's familiar with that, they're actually a really good place to eat. They got great tacos, great drinks. And it was a fun job, and I learned a lot there. And I'm really grateful for it because I learned a lot of like personal skills and kind of like face-to-face sales. I
Yeah.
never had a direct sales job outside of that, but that actually helped me learn sales. Funny enough, like just selling cocktails and tacos. As funny as that may sound. But after a couple of years there, I really just wanted more, and so that's when I started researching like different ways to make more money. And just I stumbled across real estate, and I guess the rest is history from there. I haven't looked back.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I relate to that a lot. I used to deliver pizzas and work at a pizza shop, and I remember the rule, like three rings you have to answer, and that sticks with me today. I'm always when my phone's ringing, making sure I get to that call. So that's awesome, man.
Hmm.
Let's go back to that a little bit, like that time frame. So you were looking for something more, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
And let's say you got on YouTube and you were just looking around and you found wholesaling.
100%, man. Yeah. Yeah. So it's funny. I kind of like as I was working jobs, so I'll just go back a little bit more and I'll try to keep it brief. But I started my first job ever was at Bojangles, right?
Okay.
And so if anyone's from the South, I still love that Bojangles. It's really good. But that was my first job. And so I made $7.25. To me back then, that was a lot of money. And I
Yeah.
made like 250 bucks in a week. And I started in high school and I was like, man, I'm crushing it. I had enough money to like fill up gas in my car like for the first time, and just felt like I had a little bit of a cushion, so that felt good. And then after working there for a little while, I was like, okay, I want some more, right? And so that was kind of the recurring theme. And so then I moved and I worked at Target for a little while, and then I worked at TGI Fridays. That was my first server job. And then one of my friends at Fridays actually introduced me to Bartaco. And so I was always kind of trying to just level up as much as I could, as much as I knew. I didn't know like the game of entrepreneurship even existed back then. I wasn't even thinking that big. Um, but yeah, then I really just after, like I said, it was probably about 18 months working at Bartaco. I really just realized that my income wasn't going to really go above a certain level there. And I didn't want that manager job. I was actually offered it, but I was like, no, I don't want to be in this for the long term. Like I really want to see what else is out there. And so you're exactly right. I went on YouTube University and I was just literally looking up like ways to make money. And I stumbled across wholesaling. And back then, the first person I stumbled across was Max Maxwell.
Yeah.
And he was right up the street in North Carolina, like 30 minutes away from where I was. And I was like, man, this guy's doing it like close by. So this must be a real thing. And so I just like devoured all of his content. And that led me to like Brent Daniels and Jerry Norton and all those other people too. So yeah, that's kind of the next step for me.
That's an awesome story, man. I know a lot of people who's watching this might still be in a position where you were years ago. They might still be working a job. They might have found YouTube and they want to get started. Can you remember what type of like limiting beliefs you might have had? Like, did you believe in yourself? Were you the type of person that said, you know what, I learned this, I'm going to go after it and I'm going to make it happen? Or did you have any doubts?
That's a great question, man. Yeah, it's something I still struggle with today, is those insecurities and those limiting beliefs. And I think it's really a never-ending battle,
Yeah.
especially if you're going to get into the game of entrepreneurship, because there's always going to be another level you can get to. That's what makes it so fun, right? Is that you can always ascend to another level. And so, like I said, I still struggle with that every day, but absolutely, man. When I first found out about this, that was probably the biggest thing that held me back in the beginning,
Yeah.
because I would say like in the very beginning. I didn't necessarily have a limiting belief around doing a wholesale deal because, like I said, Max Maxwell being in North Carolina, being very close to home, it made me think like, okay, he's doing it in Winston-Salem, I'm in Durham, like I can make it happen.
Yeah.
Um, and so, but I believed in myself to get a deal done, and it helped also because, actually, funny enough, my high school basketball coach got into wholesaling a little bit before me, and so he actually kind of coached me through my first couple of deals, so that really helped me. But where it really kind of held me back was in selling these deals early on. where I just thought like the first time I got paid, I think I made like 4,900 bucks on my first deal or something. And that
Yeah.
was like $1 million to me. Like I just couldn't even fathom like seeing that number on check, you know? And so then like for my first few deals, like I was just like, man, if I could just make $5,000, like, oh my God, it's just like mind blown. And so that really held me back because I would sell these deals for 5,000 and then they turn around and sell it for like 50,000 on top of me,
Yeah.
right? Just because like on one side, I probably didn't know the market as well as these investors, but on the other side, I think it was that limiting belief. It was like, I don't deserve to make more than $5,000, right? So
Yeah.
that held me back for a long time, man. And it's something I still work on every day for sure.
That yeah, man, it's real, you know. How do you work on it? Like what do you do to do you talk to yourself? I know it sounds crazy, but like what are your steps to work on those limiting beliefs?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just personal development as a whole. Like, I'm a big reader,
Yeah.
and so one of my favorite books, like specifically talking about this, is called The Big Leap. I don't
Mm,
know if anyone's heard of that, but it's a really good one, and it talks about just these kind of hidden things that you say to yourself, maybe subconsciously,
yeah.
that really hold you back. And so I've read that book like 5 times. But there's a bunch of other great books. Like I was lucky enough to like I said, find Brent Daniels and Jerry Norton, Tom Kroll, like a bunch of these guys that were really preaching like reading and just developing yourself, and that really helped me. But as far as like specific things, I don't know if I necessarily have like I'm not the guy that's talking to himself in the mirror. I'm
Yeah.
not doing that. I do write down my goals, every morning and night. I've done that for years, and that definitely helps. But I think it's just over time, you really just got to chip away at those limiting beliefs and just kind of gradually stair step up. I mean, that's what's worked for me. If someone knows a way to kind of like leap past those stair steps, I'd love to find out. But for me,
Love
it's kind of just been a continual process of gradually, getting better and doing bigger deals.
I like it, man. And just becoming a better version of yourself, right? You just keep pushing, keep pushing. I love it. So how, being that you was in North Carolina, what brought you to Scottsdale? You're on the whole other side of the country.
I know, man. Yeah, it was a big move. And kudos to my girlfriend for trusting me to make that move across the country. But yeah, man, I grew up in Durham. I moved there when I was like 4 or 5 years old, really early on. And so I always say that I'm from there. But I left there. This was, let's see, about 3 years ago now. So about 2022 is when we moved here, like the end of 2021.
Okay.
And I think it was because, when COVID happened, it affected us all, right?
Yeah.
But what it taught me more than anything is that I can do this business remotely. And
Yeah.
that was when you talk about limiting beliefs, that was another limiting belief I had is that no, you can't wholesale a house virtually or buy a house virtually. Like, how is that possible? Right. And then COVID obviously taught us all that that's what you have to do. You have to either pivot or you're going to basically die, in your business at least. And so that really helped kind of expand my mind again. And then once I started doing deals virtually in North Carolina, like where I wasn't, meeting sellers and driving out to properties anymore, then I just started thinking, I was like, well, now that I can do this virtually, I can live anywhere. And so we just kind of got thinking, and we just like Scottsdale, it's sunny out here. It helps. It's like the real estate guru capital, so it helps for business too. But yeah, we just like it out here, and we're ready for kind of a change. Sometimes you need to change your environment to kind of change your life. That might sound corny, but that's kind of what it is.
No, I agree, man. I think right now in my life, I'm where you probably were when you were still living in North Carolina. Like I've been in West Virginia all my life and not a lot going on. So I'm like, man, I gotta change my scenery. Are you doing deals like locally as well?
I'm not, no, so I'm still just 100% North Carolina, 100% remote. So I love it, man.
Awesome. Do you ever plan on venturing outside of North Carolina at all, even virtually?
Not right now. It's not in the plans right now, but possibly in the future. Never say never.
That's a good sign. That means you're doing enough business in North Carolina and you see the potential for growth that there's no need to. So that's awesome, man.
For
Let's get
sure.
into that a little bit. So how are you sourcing your deals right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So, up until I'd say 2022, it was literally all cold calling. Like I went through Brent's course, TTP, and I just adopted that mindset. And first it was me, on the phones for 3, 4 hours a day, literally. And then I hired my first virtual assistant and, kind of went that route, hired a few callers. And that was really nice to get off the phones, at least on the cold call side, and just
Yeah.
start talking to the leads, and not getting hung up on and, cursed out and those things. But yeah, so then I did that for since like 2018 up until 2022, and then I discovered texting, and that's really been our best marketing strategy since then. So I've been cold calling up until last year. I literally just stopped in December and been doing that in conjunction with SMS. But that's been our best channel. Like I said, from 2022, 2023, 2024 has been texting. And so right now we're bringing on some more inbound strategies like Google PPC, Facebook ads, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But still currently is SMS marketing is the best for us.
Wow, yeah. I don't do any SMS anymore, but when I first started, I was literally manually, texting people from prop stream lists. And I always had very good responses. It feels like, if you look at the limiting beliefs of text messaging, it's getting harder. It's
Hmm.
people are pushing you like gurus aren't really talking about SMS anymore, right? Do you feel like
Yeah.
that might be a big part of the success that you're having is not as many people are texting anymore?
I think so, definitely. Yeah, and I've just noticed it's funny. I've noticed every year since we started, as I'm like better and better and better, and more people seem to be falling off, like maybe not falling off, but deciding to stop texting, And so I think that's definitely creating an opportunity for those people that are still doing it for sure.
That's awesome. So are you sending out, like I know you're using probably some type of mass texter, but are you doing this yourself or somebody on your team doing it for you now?
Yeah, so I started just like you, doing it completely myself. I tried a bunch of different softwares. I settled on Launch Control. It's been my favorite, and we've been using it, like I said, since 2022. But yeah, I started doing it myself. I'd say probably like 2 or 3 months, and I was like, I got to get out of this. And so I've got a great administrative VA. He's been with me since like 2019, and so he basically manages. We have two Launch Control accounts, but he manages everything for me, and they just push the leads through to us.
Oh, that's awesome. So once the
Yeah.
lead comes through to you, then who is the person that gets on the phone next?
Yeah, great question. So right now I have a team of six virtual assistants that work for me full time, and then myself. And so my team is 100% remote. Just like me, they're kind of scattered all over the world. But we have three closers right now, and so anytime a new lead comes in, they just take it immediately. So there's no like ownership there. It's just a team environment, and so whoever can get to them first, they'll just reach out to them and have that conversation.
Nice. So are these closers, these three closers, are they foreign?
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
two Filipino, and then one is in Mexico.
Oh, that's incredible, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You must have trained them pretty well.
Yeah, well, it's funny. So two of them I actually got from a company. I'll just shout them out. It's called Rapid Assistance, Matt Larson, if anyone's heard of him. But so they actually do the training and stuff for you. And so I hired these people. Mike has been with me 3.5 years now, and Warney about 2.5 years. So they actually kind of came to me like pre-trained. Now, obviously, there's things that tips and tricks that we're giving them every week, but they kind of came like I don't know what the phrase is, but like just ready to go as soon as I hired them. So that was awesome. And then yeah, my third guy is someone that I trained and continue to train. So
Oh, that's incredible, man. I mean, that's really, really impressive. So as far as the North Carolina market grows, it's growing competitively. I mean, it's pretty much, North Carolina is the next Florida, in my opinion. Everybody's
yeah.
going there. Um, how are you guys? So, there's going to be a lot of people locally, in North Carolina. These people are willing to come out, shake hands, look you in the eye. Um, a lot of people aren't going under contract first. They're going out to look at it, then getting the contract. So how does your
Hmm.
process work? So, lead comes in, closer calls, they go over everything. You have an inspection period. How are you showing your buyers? What's that whole process like?
Yeah, 100%. Great question. So yeah, I have a great team of people that are kind of like boots on the ground for me now. And so for anyone who doesn't have that yet, a great source that's worked well for me is mobile notaries.
Hmm.
And so it's kind of the best of both worlds because if you need doc sign, they can help you out there, but they'll also do pretty much everything under the sun for you, whether that's showing buyers, doing inspection of the buyers, whether that's actually getting the contract signed and even, doing a little bit of negotiating on your behalf or whether that's just taking pictures, installing lock boxes. Like they literally help us with every part of the business. And so for anyone who's interested in trying that, there's just a free website that I use. It's literally called 123notary.com. I didn't make it up, but it's awesome. And I think they're nationwide. So you can just find someone and then just reach out to these people, kind of build a relationship with them and just show them that you're trustworthy. You're going to pay them on time and give them just be a good business person. And then they'll, like I said, they'll do everything that you need them to do. They're happy to do it. And so that's what I use for any time that someone kind of has that objection where they do want to meet someone face to face.
Yeah.
But I would say probably about 90% of our contracts are just getting signed over the phone. And then, yeah, anytime, like you said, when we are doing inspections and stuff like that, we do have these people, these boots on the ground, go out there and kind of coordinate things for us.
That's a good system, man. Are
Yeah.
you primarily focusing on like any certain type of houses? Like, do you deal with a lot of vacant houses or some of these occupied, just a mix?
Yeah, it's really just a mix, man. It's a mix. Obviously, I'd love it if they were all vacant. It makes things much easier. But yeah, we deal with them all. We deal with tenants who are paying, tenants who aren't paying. We deal with owner-occupied homes. We give people, time after closing. That's something that we do a lot to kind of help sweeten the deal because some other companies don't do that. So yeah, it's a mixed bag. Now we deal with all of it.
That's awesome. And you're covering the whole state of North Carolina?
Not quite. So we're covering from Guilford County to Wayne County for anyone who's familiar with North Carolina, but it's basically all the central area. So I'm not going out to the coast and I'm not going to the mountains. So I'm kind of just staying central.
That's awesome. I'm sure that works very well with your buyers. You get a lot more buyers in those areas. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And um, on average, how many deals are you guys doing right now per month?
We're doing probably anywhere between 6 to 8 right now, looking to grow that number, of course, but that's probably where we're at right now.
Nice. And most of those are coming just from text messages?
Yeah, man. Yeah, like 90%. I mean, like I said, I turned on inbound in December. So last month we got 3 contracts from inbound leads. But all the rest, we got 14 last month and all the rest of them were from SMS. So
Woo, that's awesome.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
sweet, man. How many texts are you sending out a
We
month?
send out quite a bit, man. A month, we send out 8750 a day. So I'm not a math guy, but whatever that comes out to.
Yeah, that's a lot of text. So are you texting on the weekends as well, or do you have days off?
Yeah, so we take Sunday off, but Monday through Saturday we're texting.
Oh,
So
y'all's crushing it, man. That's
yeah.
awesome. That it makes me so
Yeah.
happy to hear. And it makes me happy to hear that you're all the way in Scottsdale and you're never stepping foot in any of these houses.
Yeah, it's the best, man. It's the best. After stepping in, my fair share of houses with, there's dog stuff on the carpet, cat
Yeah.
stuff everywhere, terrible smells, just the worst of the worst. It's really nice to not do that anymore. I still feel bad for my people that have to do it for me, but
Dude, I went into a house the other day and I forgot to wear my house shoes, right? And I had my
oh,
good shoes on. Oh, it was horrible, dude.
oh man.
Yeah, man. So I respect it, man. I've done virtual deals, but for some reason I've stuck to my local market. But talking to you, man, just makes me say, man, I could do this anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, man.
Um,
Yeah, do
that's
it.
really cool, man. So, where do you see this taking you for the next 12 months? I'm sure you have some goals.
Yeah, for sure. So our goal for the team, it's a little bit conservative, but we want to close 84 this year. And so hopefully my goal internally, is to close over 100. But I think 84 is definitely doable. And so that's my goal for the next 12 months for this year. And then next year, I don't want to say necessarily more because I do want to focus on overall just like a quantity over quality or sorry, quality over quantity approach. Like I don't want to just be doing a bunch of deals just to say that we close a deal. I want to make sure
Yeah,
that these are healthy deals and they're actually, obviously profitable for us. But yeah, I think I want to get to that 100 ballpark just to kind of say I did it. Maybe it's an
yeah,
ego thing, but
yeah.
I think I want to get there and then we'll see what's next after that.
Love it. For your business and your expenses and what you got to pay people and what you want to profit, what is the perfect deal size for you?
So right now our goal for this year is to have a $25,000, average deal size.
Hmm.
Last year we were actually around 16, and the year before that we were actually better at 19.5. So we're trying to push that up this year to 25, like I said, quality over quantity type of deals. And so that's the goal. We'll see if we get there, but that's the goal right now.
Awesome, man. You can definitely do it. Are these assignment only?
Typically, yeah. So typically we're just assigning these deals. Every once in a while when we get something that's got more meat on the bone, I'll just go ahead and buy it. And I usually don't do a full like flip, but I'll clean it out and list those.
Yeah, those are my favorite, when you just come
Yeah,
out and put them on the market, man. That's awesome. Uh,
yeah,
so at the end of the day, man, you have a lot going on. You have a business that you're running. How are you not turning off the business, but how are you living your life? How are you spending the time with your girl and doing and just living? And
yeah,
what
yeah.
do
It's a
you
great.
do?
What do I do like for
Yeah.
fun?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. It's a great question, man. It's honestly something I need to work on, but at the same time, I recognize that one of the things that Tom Cole says that I really love is that the life comes at you in seasons, and I think that's very true. And so at some point, you're going to have a season of hustle. That's what Tom
Yeah.
Crow calls it. But you're going to have a season where you actually put your head down and work, especially if you're just getting started. That's the most important season is to kind of get those wheels turning. Because once you get the train rolling, it's definitely easier to keep that momentum.
Yeah.
But to get that thing rolling, it can be a bear sometimes. So I think there's definitely seasons. And right now, I feel like this year is one of those seasons. So I'm really just focused, 100% on my business. That's not to say I'm not hanging out with my family and stuff, but that's really the main priority. And I love playing basketball. That's something I grew up doing, and I almost took it to go play professional overseas, but I ended up not doing that. And so that's always going to be like my first love and something I enjoy doing. But for right now, like I literally told my friends I'm not playing basketball anymore, and I'm just focused on the business right now. And in probably 3 to 6 months, I'll pick my head up and have some more fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now it's really just the business. That's the main focus.
Revenue in first position, right?
Absolutely, man.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
man. Shout out to Tom, man. Tom is one of
Yeah.
See, I'm like you. We kind of started around the same time, you know. So it's funny because you said Max Maxwell, Tom Crow, and Brent, and those were the first three that I caught on to, you know. I
Yeah.
actually found Tom through the interview with Max, where they did an interview together. That's how I found.
Hmm.
It's just so cool, man. This business is so amazing.
It
Um,
is, man.
yeah, man. So, what's some good advice you can leave some people with? I think that most people who watch, these channels and interviews like this, they're just starting out. So what's the best advice you could give to someone starting off today? Let's say they're working at Bojangles and they see this interview.
For sure, man. I mean, I would say the first thing to do is to believe in yourself. And like we shared, it's something that is an ongoing process, but that's the most important thing. If you have the belief that you can do something, you can do anything you set your mind to. And people say that and it sounds corny, and it probably sounds corny with me saying it, but it's actually true. And you and me both are a testament to it. But it's like this business can change your life, but only if you let it. You got to stay consistent. You got to believe in yourself. And I mean, that's what I would say, man. Just believe in yourself and stay consistent. Those two things, it'll take you farther than you can imagine.
Yeah, man. We are running out of time, but before we go, I'm curious to know about your group, man. You got a Facebook group, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Can you
So I
talk a bit
started
about it?
this. Yeah, just real quick. I started this group. I got a school community as well, which is free, but they're both called the same thing, just remote flippers, because that's what, I'm trying to coin as doing these things remotely and closing deals virtually. So yeah, if anyone wants to join that, you can just look it up on Facebook or on school by the name Remote Flippers. I'm sure it'll pop up. And really what I'm trying to do with that is just help people get their first deal closed, or if they've already been closing deals, close more deals, hire a team, like just help them do the things that I've been able to do and been fortunate to do. So yeah, if anyone wants to check that out, I'm more than happy to connect with you there.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll put the link into the description so people can come to it, man. You're incredible, dude. You really are, and it's an inspirational story to hear just, more of your background that I didn't know and how you started off, just working a regular job. Because, people like us are good examples of it's just you can be just a normal human being. You don't have to be some superstar or really, really good at sales. Uh,
Yeah.
One thing I am curious about, so when you're wholesaling these properties virtually, right? Are you
Mhm.
guys telling people that you're wholesalers? Like, are you putting in place as the buyer and then just doing your inspection period? Or are you open about it and saying, this is what we're going to do?
Yeah, so we don't lead with that. Like we don't leave that up front, like, hey, we're going to wholesale your property. And that's because at this point in time, I actually do buy, like I said, a handful of these.
Yeah.
And so we're always in a position, I'm fortunate enough now. I will say when I first got started, I do feel like, I was kind of walking that gray area where I wasn't really being honest with people. And I didn't really like that feeling. But I would say now we're in a position on any property I put in contract where I can close on that property. So it gives me
Yeah.
the confidence to say that we are the buyer. And like I said, we do buy these properties. So yeah, we're not leading with that. But obviously, at any point where they ask us, upfront, we're going to just be honest with them. But we don't necessarily lead with that, if that makes sense.
Makes total sense. And I like to ask that question because I see a lot of people like in these groups that I'm in, they're just getting started and they're like, somebody just asked me if I'm a wholesaler, what should I do? And I'm just like, just be honest if they ask, you know what I mean? If
Yeah,
you can't buy the property and you're just getting started, just be real. I think that
yeah,
that's important. Um, so yeah, man. So I guess that's really all the questions I have for you. I'm trying to think. I'm sure as soon as I get off here, I'm gonna like my brain's gonna shoot at me, and I'm like, oh, I should have asked
that's
him
how it
this.
works.
Should have
Yeah.
asked him this. So maybe we can have you back on like in the future and we can make this a routine thing and you can just keep
For
giving us.
sure, man. Yeah, yeah, I'd love to. If you ever want to have me back on, I'd love to kind of break down, more in depth on the business. If that would be helpful for anyone, like exactly what we're doing step by step. But yeah, thank you, Travis, for having me on, man. It's an absolute pleasure talking to you, and I really appreciate the opportunity.
Hey, no problem, man. It was good talking with you. I hope you have a good day and I wish you the best for your the rest of the year.
Likewise, man. Let's have a great year.